I'm now in Switzerland on my 3 weeks visit. When I had just availability of time between programs that we have with Tabarwa. And this is first time since I came here after I became a nun. Just 7 months ago I became a nun. I wasn't planning to come back here. And now I'm coming back after a visit in a farmer's house of my friend, a woman who is older than me, and she comes from a family of generations of farmers. And I stayed in their house. Usually we used just to see each other for a cup of coffee and cake or a meal and to discuss together. She's Christian. She goes to church, but not in the sense of being religious to cover her head and put a candle, but she studies the Bible and she contemplates and she observes a lot in life. And we could always share a lot to be able to contemplate together about life, and we could find similar views that I practice in Buddhism and she practices in Christianity. And I decided to make this video. I don't know how much we can see from the window of the car. Not that much, not that colorful, but I'm passing by the fields and we can see the hills behind and the mountains far further. Yeah, not so much. Also the weather is a bit rainy. It's going to rain. It rains further there that I can see. I just wanted to make this video because I'm taking this route, and this is the route that I used to take quite regularly before when I used to live here, and this is what brings me pain in the heart. This is where we say the base of the mind is. Why seeing this beautiful scenery, the landscape, brings me pain? Just because my mind has become sensitive. My mind is more subtle, and it can know what actually everyone experiences, but just without knowing. Because all the processes go in this way, that there is the contact, in this case visual contact. The eyes can see the outside scenery as the object, and the visual consciousness arises, and sanya comes and functions as recognition of what it is, just the fields, the forest, the flowers, the crops and grains that grow now and make it all so beautiful, and some colors of flowers, of poppies and other flowers. And sanya arises, and feeling Vedana arises with this. And I could be just content and happy to enjoy this view, but my mind knows already to see that there is also Sankara arising that knows all this as mine, as my habit, my place, my views, and my habit of going here regularly, passing here. And now I know that I won't pass here anymore. Well, maybe on another visit. But driving like this, that makes me pleasure, just to be free, driving, seeing the beauty of the places, enjoying. I know that this won't actually happen. This is no more a part of my life. And there is an attachment that I want this to continue happening. I want this to continue to be mine. So this clinging and craving to this experience, which steals from me the clarity of the experience, to have it just clear, pure vision, or just clear, pure enjoyment, with ignorance, of course, enjoyment of what I see. No, I already know the pain. I also know this pain because I see that the craving arises, and the comparison that now I have it and I can't have it any longer, it arises, and this creates pain from wanting something that I can't get. All this knowing creates even physical contact here of experiencing that what we like, what we want, we can't get. And I understand this happens just because I learned to pay attention to mind moments. This is the same for everyone who sees, hears, likes and dislikes, whatever experience is. But just we don't know. We don't know about that pain happening, and it doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. But if we don't know, we can't also do anything. But if we know our attachment, we have a chance to detach. This is why every knowing like that, we should detach without analytics. What I'm telling you now is not what is passing in my head. This is just in order to explain to you some experience which actually takes just a single moment, just like this, just very little time. But so many words should come into a phrase, and a few phrases should come together to explain these very fast moments passing on the head. And this is something that is different, that they don't understand in Christianity. They can observe life, but they do it with attachment. The concepts that they discover with attachment. And this is what we practice, particularly with my teacher, Sayadaw Tamasara, that we learn to see attachment everywhere and to practice with detachment. This is what makes Buddha's teaching so different, that we learn that suffering comes because of clinging, because of attachment. So it is important not only to learn about the experience, but also to detach from that experience. This is what I've been practicing immediately when I saw the beautiful view of fields, the familiar situation of driving the car through the countryside and feeling the pain, knowing that this is not my habitual life anymore. When that craving appeared, this is creation of new lives. This is creation of this desire to experience, to continue to experience like this, creates new life. This plants new seeds. So actually, what I do by my practice, that I try to plant the seeds of awareness and mindfulness and wisdom. Because knowing the sanya, the recognition of this, is actually mindfulness and is liberation. If mindfulness comes with detachment, knowing the grasping and then the clinging to that grasping is also known by mindfulness. So the experience itself comes and happens by the force, by the power of ignorance, because it combines for me everything as something. But the recognition comes due to mindfulness, the recognition that the perceived experience of the field as beautiful is ignorance. So mindfulness that comes recognizes the ignorance. It doesn't let this ignorance to influence me, to make me really attached. This is like that, even if we have already wisdom, and wisdom is not just intellectual knowledge. In my case, I can take the power of wisdom, take the example of wisdom from the experience that I lived through meditation, where wisdom taught me about impermanence, where it taught me about no self. And this is the wisdom which still is impermanent. I'm not enlightened one. So ignorance also comes. Ignorance continues to construct all this world happening in front of my eyes and believe that as if this is all real. But because wisdom has created for me already different experience, so the knowledge with mindfulness comes, intellectual knowledge fed by wisdom which was experiential. So as everything is impermanent, ignorance comes, but mindfulness comes and it recognizes the ignorance immediately. And then ignorance continues to come due to unenlightenment. It continues to come, but mindfulness continues to come too, due to the practice, due to the created causes. All is actually cause and effect. So the ignorance comes and brings the experience as the effect of the cause created before due to many lives lived in ignorance. This is why ignorance continues to come and bring this experience. But the practice of mindfulness and detachment and listening to Dhamma and giving the right attention to what is right also creates a good cause for mindfulness to appear now and wisdom to remind about itself and to remind about the right understanding. So this is the effect of the good practice, of the right effort, of the right practice. So as impermanent, wisdom appears and then mindfulness appears. The ignorance appears and the mindfulness appears, which recognizes the ignorance. And mindfulness appears with wisdom, and then again ignorance, and mindfulness again recognizes. And this is probably an intermediary step between not knowing and knowing. This is probably something that already doesn't let me be lost in complete ignorance and be influenced by ignorance, but still which doesn't let me be free completely from that experience and still live it through I with knowing that there is no I. This is a contemplation that I decided to share to explain a bit how it goes for those who practice. And some experience happens like this while driving, and this is an experience with contemplation, mainly stronger experience of really wisdom would happen in a sitting session. But sometimes also life would bring situations where some understanding, strong understanding would come, and that strong understanding would trigger the work of mind to show also the impermanence, the anicca. I'll give you another example that once when I still lived in Israel, today just I was meeting a friend who also knows about Israel, and we discussed a bit about Israel, as I used to live for some 5 years. For 5 years I lived in Israel. So when I still lived here in Switzerland before, once I was at a train station in Lausanne and I needed to cross the platform to go underground, and going underground I found myself stuck with many people, a mob of people just in front of me who were moving slower than me, and I experienced some kind of urgeness to go faster, to pass faster, and I wanted to take over, to overcome, and I felt this greed on the mind, how greedy I was to do this action and to pass quickly so that I could be smarter, I could be quicker to pass over and then have no one in front of me and be free just and walk in my pace. So I felt strong greed. The mind was rooted in the greed, willing, desiring to do that, to change situation of having many people in front of me, just to overtake and go freely. I experienced that greed, and I saw just how much in this simple situation the mind goes into ignorance, delusion, believing that those are the people, they are doing something wrong, I am better, I will do better now. And that experience showed me all this arising on the mind, and then the wisdom arising, explaining all of this. Like now again I'm using many words to explain something that happens in a single happening. So mindfulness was recognizing the habit of the mind, just pure habit of reactions on the mind, ignorant reactions on the mind. So I needed to take a train, and it took me another half an hour to arrive home by train, when I was trying to stay with my mind, being mindful of the happening during the road, till I could come home and just abandon all activities and just stay with the mind only. Just carefully and attentively given attention to the happening on the mind. And that experience, which was, we can say, like, if we want to label a bit to describe, this was a negative experience. Is not negative, but the negative action on the mind of that greed and of that desire to change the present moment, to make better for myself. That experience actually activated something, triggered on the mind, that half an hour later allowed me to experience this all happening, further happening, that I came to experience and see anicca, the impermanence, and anatta, no self, and dukkha, suffering. So I'm telling this just to share that when we are devoted to Dhamma, to our practice, we should try to use mindfulness with detachment in every situation, in every life situation, and then experience will also happen in all different life situations. If we practice only on the cushion, we can expect the results only on the cushion, and also expecting the results is also wrong, because this is doing with attachment. We should do without attachment, and whatever we do, we should do with mindfulness and detachment, which should be installed within the mindfulness. In this way, we create a rule for our experience that every place, every time, every situation is right for experiencing, is right for seeing the truth, for seeing Dhamma, experiencing Dhamma. If we plant the seed of karma by bringing the right effort, the curiosity of being mindful and exploring what is there in the present moment, this will cause a rising of the mindfulness again and again in all different situations, discovering to us the true happening. Well, with that, probably I can pull over somewhere to switch off the camera. It's another 10 minutes and I arrive back home. And I hope I could share also some of the beauty, which definitely is not the same as I see myself, and definitely I cannot show to you what makes me so attached in these places which I consider so beautiful. But also we should understand attachment is not about this place or that place. Attachment is just attachment, and everyone will attach to something which we have in particular as our own experience, and where we can train and practice. And I would finish here.